that they are going to show off a version of their latest car because there has been some leaks. Oh God, I can imagine that, Pickle. God, that'd be horrible. If you're that way inclined, go share that link, give it a like. Where car? Well, it's not here yet, Bashid. You got 14 minutes, my man. 14 minutes, and you'll see it. I will share it with you. I'm currently at the Red Bull garage. I'm just getting ready for them to take the covers off the car, and I'll take you behind the scenes with Christan Horner. So, now, some stuff got leaked earlier. I don't know whether that was a private showing they were doing to press, and then this is going to be live, or it was all pre-recorded earlier, and then they're just going to play what was recorded earlier. I don't know which way around they've done it. Christan Horner is there, though, at the car launch. He is there. He was there. So he's not, while things happen behind the scenes, he's not shying away from his duties. He is saying that he's not done anything wrong and he'll carry on as normal. Wobie. So I daren't even look at the chat and see what's going on there. I will load up their Instagram, though. Oh, their Instagram apparently doesn't exist. Oh, that's because it's got some special characters after it. Well, that's a mistake, isn't it? Let's see. Sometimes they might post stuff on here a little bit early. I say I have got some low-res pictures of the leak, but I don't really want to share that. There's going to be a car, and not only is there going to be a car, but there's going to be a 2020 car. I will say this, much like the Mercedes at the beginning of last year, I don't think the Red Bull is a very good-looking car, but they won't care as long as it's quick. The engine cover doesn't make it look like a good car, I don't think. It is going to be in 13 minutes. 13 minutes. Approximately. You say that, Atmospheric, like you know. None of us know. You say that. I'll tell you this. Christan Horner, I hope, gets a fair shake of the whip. I don't know what's happened. None of us do. Whatever's happened there behind the scenes, we'll never truly know. I'll say this, though. He spent 8 hours with an independent lawyer going over all of the allegations. You don't spend 8 hours with a lawyer going over allegations if it's just one small infraction. It doesn't get to that stage. To get to a stage where you need to sit with a lawyer all day and explain yourself, something that isn't just, let's brush it under the carpet has happened. Whatever that is. He might very well turn out that they'll go, do you know what? There's nothing to this at the end of the day, and that's that. And, I'm not saying there is anything there because we simply don't know. We don't have all the information. So all we'd be doing is speculating. But the bottom line is, he went into a meeting with that independent lawyer at 10 a.m. and came out at 6 p.m. You don't need to spend 8 hours discussing that if it's one small allegation that is unsubstantiated. In my opinion. And like I say, I'm reading into it when we shouldn't because we just don't know. But it is innocent and proven guilty. Like I say, we don't know really what he was accused of. They haven't really spoken about it. We've heard that it's his management style and what have you, but we don't know for sure. So all it is just conjecture, really, isn't it? I'll load up their website as well. This is Checo's new helmet.
This is my helmet reveal for the season. we always try to keep some natural color, which is the yellow, so at least you can recognize me.
It's Sergio Kit Kat Perez.
We went for the Mexican flag on top to make sure that it represents well our country, our traditions, our culture.
Do you know, some people have quite a noticeable and unique helmet, don't they? I don't really think Perez does. To tell you the truth, if you'd have asked me, I wouldn't necessarily have been able to tell you the colours of Max Verstappen's helmet last year. I suppose I'm not very observant. What? Yeah, I mean, he's largely kept the same sort of style, hasn't he? Who would you say has got a distinctive helmet other than, like, Lewis, who usually has a bright yellow or he's had purple in the past? The problem is this goes to another issue. Yeah, Lando's got a really distinct helmet. This goes to another issue that everyone's changing their helmet. They're doing special helmets every bloody weekend, aren't they?
As you can see, you know, it's quite similar to how I started driving midway through the season. It's a bit more of a throwback to how I basically started my racing career when I was 4 years old. It gives me back a few details from back in the day. Yeah, for me, it's very personal, always a helmet, and yeah, I think it came out really well. A bit more chrome lines.
Chrome, baby.
As well, which I think, yeah, it's a very.
I mean, it looks nice.
Of course, you can see always the lion on the top, which I think came out really well with the chrome. Of course, a little upgrade on the back with the 3 stars now. Of course, last year it was 2.
It's a nice looking, lid, as they say.
Gratitude dispensed.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
Wobitide76 gifted a tier 1 sub to Christian Mag. They have given
Christian Mag.
155 gift subs in the channel.
Christian Mag. Oh, baby. Replica collection. Official team line. God, I thought that was Christian Horner then for a second. I mean, that's not too bad. That's 30 quid. I was expecting it to be more. Would you go out wearing this, though? Would you go out wearing a team shirt for any team, not just Red Bull? Like, and when I say out, I don't mean going to a race. I just mean wearing it, you know, normally. I'm not sure I would. I don't know. And I've got no style, so let me tell you. I've got no style. I've got no fashion sense and no style, so. I don't dislike that. I don't dislike that hoodie there. You can't really see it properly, but the white one's all right. I don't dislike some of the designs on these. Yeah, McLaren cap and stuff like that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, would you just wear it out and about normally? I don't know. I don't know if I would. Performance pants. Well, yeah, what are they going to improve my performance in there? They've put their links in all wrong with special characters. Bloody hell. Right, they're live now, guys. We don't have audio though. Prepare for your ears to be blown off. Performance pants. Listen, I'll be honest. If I had pants developed by Adrian Newey, I reckon I'd be better at golf. In fact, think I'd be more efficient at life. If my clothing was made by Adrian Newey, I'd expel less energy just moving around because of aerodynamics. I'd be a better walker. I'd move around faster. I'd be more efficient. I'd have more energy. I would just glide through the air like the air wasn't even there, like I was weightless. So what does, if her means, oh, I don't know how you pronounce it, Stoney. If that means this year, what does tag mean? It's kind of weird that they don't have music on this. It's just me, is it? No, there's no music on this one either. Do.
Now staying down.
Yeah, no, it's just they just don't have audio on the countdown. It's just a bit ominous, isn't it? Team branded underwear. I mean, come on, imagine, right? Imagine you're wearing Red Bull, it gives you wings underwear, and you're on a first date and you get lucky. What's she gonna think? Tag means day. So tag here means day and year. That's what it means. Is that what it means? Or day this year? That can't be right, can it? They were two different companies. Oh, I never knew that. I just always assumed it was one. I suppose that's the power of branding when you're... But then they've got... It's a company that essentially does time-related devices and systems, right? And yet they've not got minute and hour in their name. They've got day and year. Well, essentially, they should be a bloody calendar, shouldn't they? They shouldn't be a watch or timekeepers. The timekeepers, mate. I need you to be experts in minutes and hours. Well, you know, I'll take your word for it. Anyway, I don't think Red Bull are going to just launch straight into their car. I think they're going to have a little bit of chitter-chatter first. Christan Horner needs his moment. Oh, here is just the guy's surname. So it's a complete coincidence then. It's actually his surname. And TAG is an acronym of Techniques d'Avant-Garde. Well, I think what happened with the Merc reveal, I could be wrong, but they had a partner WhatsApp, and I think they did the reveal of taking the cover off the car on WhatsApp. And so when it got to the YouTube stream, it was just... Here we go. I see a forklift. I hope to God they've decided to race this year in a forklift. I hope to God. At least someone would have a chance. Or that truck. Either. Oh, I'm going to have to turn that audio off. I've asked for audio. I'm going to turn it off because that's 100% going to be copyright. That's 1,000% going to copyright my ass off. Look, it's got the Red Bull logo on it. Look at that livery. There you go. Look at those details in and around the forks Oh, wow. Yeah, some really cool details there on the side pods as well. The engine cover has definitely seen some improvements. It's very different from last year's car, I'll tell you that. I'm not sure if the FIA will look too kindly over the forks at the front, though. Rake is really high. I mean, all joking aside, it probably would beat the W14 in a race. It probably... When it just gets behind the car, it just lifts them out of the way. It never has to overtake. It just lifts them off the ground. Why not? Yeah, what it doesn't show is that's got like a V12 in the back of it. It's a super forklift. Super forklift. This is a weird intro screen, isn't it? Just in a little factory. It's a little bit strange. Right, I'll put it back on now. I just didn't want to get hit for copyright. Is that all cool, Thad? Red Bull haven't changed their livery, have they? Ever. And I kind of like that, you know. They don't mess about with it. And it looks smart. It always looks smart. I'm just going to have to take the copyright hit on this because it's coming. This is edgy, isn't it? Was that car changing as it went along? It was, wasn't it? Or did I... Yeah, it's changing through the eras as it gets closer. That's cool. I like the concept of what they're doing. That was a bit of fun. This reminds me of the factory that Mercedes had their reveal in for the last year. They did something very similar in front of all the old cars, didn't they? And Red Bull just copying Mercedes for everything. Is this a massive troll?
It's just a fizzy drinks company, but the bubbles never burst for Oracle Red Bull Racing. As we launch this 20th season, what we're celebrating is a culture, a spirit and an attitude that's changed Formula One forever. Let's take a look at those last 20 years of doing it the Red Bull way.
Another victory lap for Max Verstappen, who is on his way to win his 34th Grand Prix since Bahrain 2022.
Red Bull have a different way of operating with the emphasis on people being themselves.
When we come together as a team, we like to feel unstoppable and let people know where we stand. Do something that no one else has done before. Makes us feel like a family.
Welcome to my world, the world of Red Bull.
When you look at some of the other projects that Red Bull are involved in, the extreme sports, we're tremendously proud to carry the Red Bull logo. It's become iconic in Formula One.
If you have a will and if you have an idea, exciting things are possible.
You know, I didn't want to let him down. And did I feel ready? Probably not.
When I first joined Red Bull, huge change culturally.
People saw Red Bull as a party team. They wanted to do things differently. You know when something just feels right, and there was a natural chemistry from those very first interactions. You know, are they completely mad? Is it just parties, or are they serious? You know, who's this kid, Christan Horner? And take a massive risk.
I think it's fair to say,
what a ride.
I'm not nullifying Christian Horner's part in this. Without Adrian Newey, they don't win what they've won.
So anyway, are you still watching that, David? That looks like Sebastian Vettel went right into the side of Mark Webber. How do you read that?
Yeah, I think that Mark was holding position. As uncomfortable as it is to call that between those two guys.
God, that was a battle, wasn't it?
This is silly, Seb. Come on.
So good.
Sebastian Vettel, you are the world champion!
Thank you, boys. Unbelievable. We have to remember these days. There's no guarantee that they will last forever.
Gotta get it while you can.
And he was right as well.
I need a drink.
We may have a bit of a problem.
Oh, got damage, got damage.
Wants to put himself in a great position.
Wow, mate. Oh, would have done that after that one. This is how we do it, man. We shut our mouth and we work hard. This is the Mexican way.
It's a cool video. I mean, they've come far, haven't they?
On the podium in his home race.
Checo is a legend.
Oh no, I can't watch it. Of course they put that in.
Max Verstappen, you are the world champion. We are so proud of you.
I mean, they had to, really, didn't they? I mean, it was his first championship.
Max, you have been absolutely mighty this year. You've led over 1,000 laps, 19 victories. That's history.
You have just overtaken Ascari. That's a record from 1952, mate.
Yeah, we did that.
It's been an absolute privilege watching you drive this car that's been built by a team of brilliant people.
Max Verstappen wins 19 Grand Prix in a single season. Literally ludicrous domination.
You got killed a rocket ship of the car.
And it's not going to change this year, I don't think.
Please welcome two men who have been a part of the story from the very start. CEO and team principal of Oracle Red Bull Racing, Christan Horner. Oh yeah, and we've got Oracle Red Bull Racing legend, David Coulthard.
Well, they weren't Oracle back then.
You both, and as we just watched there, it's been quite the journey you've been on as a team. Now, Christian, I'll come to you first because you're now CEO and team principal of arguably one of the world's most successful high-performance companies. But it all started back when you were just 31 years old, no former experience in Formula One. I mean,
oh, there you go. They're going to show the car off in 15 minutes.
Well, it started, as you say, 20 years ago, and looking at some of those videos, we're all looking a little younger there. It's been quite a journey, and you know what we've crammed into 20 years has been phenomenal. Some highs and lows along the way, but an awful lot of highs. And
there's a lovely guy on YouTube, Mr. Willie VG. During the intro, when it was at BMX, he told me to stop talking because he wanted to listen.
Well, I'd known Christian actually from
and
Lower
I just want to
Motorsports.
inform
I've seen
him
what he'd done
that
with his, Arden Racing team.
this is
The
my
team
reaction, so
that
you will
was
hear my voice and I
formerly
will
here, I'd
speak.
already decided I wasn't going to race for them because I just didn't believe in
That's
the
awkward.
future investment. But when I met with
Just
Mr. Madishes,
so we're aware.
it was absolutely clear this was more than just a branding exercise. This was an absolute commitment. And in that very first meeting, he said our goal is to win the World Championship. And it really took me back because I'm thinking we haven't even got to the first race. Never mind got about building a team that can compete against, you know, your Ferrari.
Does anyone know who this woman is? I do recognise her.
Christian's leadership, along with all of the great technical men and women that have been part of this journey, has just been incredible.
I don't mind David
So when we
Coulthard.
started,
I don't mind
it was
him.
a few hundred people in one factory
He's all right.
down at the
He's all right by
bottom
me.
of this road. Now we've got the whole campus and what, 1,500 people or so employed
and counting, yeah.
Such an incredible journey. And of course, it was clear from the off that you guys meant business, because in your first race, sorry Jaguar to throw you in here, but in the first race, they scored more points than Jaguar had in the entire previous season, just saying. And then shortly thereafter, of course, this happened. So talk us through that moment where you got your first podium.
Let's just shit on the team that we took over.
A circuit that I always went well, so I was confident that even though we were still a developing team, that there was an opportunity on a track like that to get a result.
Cool, that is looking well tanned.
I was convinced we were capable of making it.
Is it real tan?
Point scoring position, but a podium,
very, very green eyes, isn't he?
For the team.
Look, I mean, it was the first trophy, and it sits very proudly in our cabinet, you know. And you know, David was such an important part of the early part of Red Bull Racing, and again, here we are, 20 years with him still associated.
20 years, big deal, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so, would you say that that was the moment that you really felt you'd arrived as a team?
I think it was an important moment because, you know, that trophy represented, you know, what was to come, and it also represented that we were prepared to do things a little differently. Seeing David standing on a podium in front of Prince Albert in a Superman cape on Red Bull's first podium just showed that
he does look.
We were doing it differently. We were doing it
close up. He does look quite orange.
I think it's important to mention actually at that time Formula 1 was quite a close
He looks
shot.
over tanned.
He didn't go into the other teams.
He looks fake
It
tanned.
was very much, you know, each team was its own entity. Red Bull opened the door to the paddock and said the other teams were welcome. And at first you could see other team members sort of...
Look at his hands. Look at the colour of his hands compared to his face.
Is something going to happen? And then over time, it just changed the whole philosophy of Formula 1. And the paddock is a much friendlier place because of it.
Absolutely. And I know you credit a lot of this down to team culture. How important would you say that is in terms of success?
It's everything.
Team culture, oh
here
Jesus.
in Milton Keynes, all the people behind the scenes. It's out of these industrial buildings that we've created some of the most incredible cars over the last 19 seasons, and the late nights, the hours, the sacrifices that are made. It is a culture. It's a very inclusive culture. It's a team culture. For me, Formula 1 is the biggest team sport in the world, and without the people, you have nothing. And it's the people who are your single biggest asset.
Absolutely. Now, we've spoken a lot about teammates, and we've heard just how important the team is. So why don't we hear from some of the people who have all played their part?
It is Donald Trump style tan. They are just carrying on as though there's nothing going on with his job. That's.
What are we doing here? This line of questionings is appalling. We're done.
Yes. Let's get those in.
What did they ask him? Was he genuinely annoyed?
There are rebels and characters throughout. There's so many of them. I mean, you can start with Vacher. He's got a few Pink Panther moves at some parties that I've seen in action.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, certainly Adrian, he does like a party.
No, it wasn't Zanzibar. It was done this afternoon.
I can be a party animal. I don't think I'm the chief party animal. I can think of a lot bigger protagonists.
He looks like a university professor, but get a Red Bull inside him, he just takes off.
It's great. Everybody feels like they can be a part of this team, so it's not like a separate them and us thing.
Hannah Schmitz doesn't get enough credit. She's a really good tactician. She's one of the reasons Red Bull have done so well over the years.
What you're doing. It's not a 9-to-5 job in Formula 1. It's a competition. It's a sport, and it's fantastic to see as we travel around the world the amount of support that the team enjoys in every country that we go to.
Keep it raw.
Very quickly, we established a culture, and a culture that was inclusive, that that we were there to operate as a race team.
Growing up within the team has been very nice. Of course, everyone has always been very supportive, and we all always trusted each other, and I think that makes our relationship very special.
Everyone is seeing how they can support the guy next to you.
I can't see Max racing for anyone else.
It just came across as a great place to work, where there was kind of that fun, a bit young and energetic.
He's a team product. He's never an individual product.
You race as one team. It's vital, isn't it? You get different views, different ideas, different personalities.
And how you choose them, how you develop them, and after he's developing you.
Well, yeah, it's a very good point, as Lewis said. It's a corporate event, this. They're not going to mention it. They're going to carry on as normal. There was thoughts that Christan Horner might not attend, but he was adamant he was going to. That's because he says he's done nothing wrong, so he wants to carry on. All right, now this is the man we want to listen to. Here he is.
Welcome, Adrian.
The airbender himself.
As you've seen, we've been going through the journey of everyone, and I want to start off with you. Going back to 2004, you already had 2 decades of experience designing championship-winning cars, both for teams which David drove for. So I have to ask you, was it a bit of a bromance going on that brought you to Red Bull?
As it turns out, the 3 teams that David has driven for was actually the same 3 teams as I've worked for, and so I've known David since he was a wee test driver, very young lad, in 1993, I think. He then moved to McLaren. I moved to McLaren a year after. He moved to Red Bull. And then really from there, things developed.
And how excited were you, David, when you found out that Adrian was joining the team?
Well, Adrian has been incredibly successful through his entire career, even prior to Formula One. So when Christian first suggested that, would Adrian be available? At that point, I was so immersed in trying to understand where we were as a team. I hadn't really.
He did IndyCar. You might not know this, but he did IndyCar for a long time. Did Adrian Newey?
Built here has been proven out by the success. The thing that I really love about Adrian, as well as being obviously a creative chap, pretty handy when it comes to being at the drawing board, because for those who know Formula One closely, they'll know that Adrian still uses a pencil to design. But he's a racer. And maybe he doesn't have the same racing success as Max Verstappen, but he has been out on the racetrack, and he likes to keep it simple. I remember once, going into great detail, explaining everything the car was doing on a lap, and at the end of having given this long explanation, he went, "What do you need to go faster?" Kept it simple. And then I went, "Well, understeer." And he went, "Okay, we'll work on the understeer." So out of all of this sort of,
yeah, I read his book, Hobbsy. It's really, really interesting.
The
yeah.
journey around the racetrack, just focus on what you need to go quicker. And that simplicity has clearly been very successful for him and his team.
Incredible. Now, Christian, of course, even the greatest teams go through challenging moments. And fast forwarding now to 2014, when Mercedes started to look a little bit unbeatable, how did you stay resilient as a team?
Well, I think that that was a testing period for the team. That
really going through the bases here, aren't
change. We'd gone from enjoying huge success with Sebastian Vettel and those 4 consecutive World Championships, and suddenly, for reasons beyond our control, we didn't have an engine that could compete with the likes of what Mercedes had come up with. So suddenly, it was about keeping the group together, keeping the team together, staying focused on addressing a weak point, and focusing on the things that we could control and the things that where we could be strong. And I think it was that team spirit, it was that togetherness that we didn't lose key members of the team during that period, and we were able to win races every single year bar one until we got ourselves in a position.
Well, yeah, they never shy away from saying the reason they didn't win during that time was because of their engine. And
now,
it's not like it's untrue.
But I know that Red Bull is a lot about the future, and in particular, backing young talent through the Red Bull Academy program, through Visa, Cash App, RB, and Oracle Red Bull Racing. How important is it to you to bring in those fresh new names?
Well, look, it's really exciting, and I think Red Bull have committed more to Formula One Academy than
Visa Cash App, real exciting.
And with Oracle Red Bull Racing and Red Bull fielding cars, and the Visa Cash App RB team also putting cars out. There's going to be a really strong Red Bull presence, and it's great to see these young girls getting a chance as the sport starts to embrace female racing.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, let's have a look at that next generation of racing and some very exciting young female talent.
I'm Emily, the host, and I'm Hamda.
Ramos, thank you very much.
And I'm part of the Red Bull Academy program. A few years ago, I couldn't even think about being part of Red Bull. It was always a dream.
I didn't even know until a few days ago that Visa and Cash App are 2 separate companies. I thought Visa owned Cash App. Not true.
Next season is I want to win, I want to be champion, of course. I feel like Red Bull has done many amazing things, not just in motorsport. It's exciting.
Also, for those of you who don't know, Honda are going to Aston Martin in 2026 when Ford take over Red Bull.
From the Red Bull Academy program, it's Hamda Al-Khabaisi and
Fernando Alonso and Honda. Hello.
All right, so Hamda, I'll come to you first, as you'll be driving for F1 Academy for Red Bull Racing. Tell us a bit about your journey into motorsport and how this program is helping you with the next level of your career.
Yeah, I got into karting when I was 12 years old, and I fell in love with the sport immediately. And from there, we moved up the ladder.
Imagine how amazing it would be if we had a woman in Formula One that was
we ended the season very
competing,
in the top
like
3,
a real challenger. It would be incredible. What a story it would be.
Grateful about this opportunity.
Super excited. And Emily, what does it mean to you to be a part of the Red Bull family, and what was your journey into motorsport like?
Well, I started karting when I was 9 years old at
Em-
the local karting track.
Was
And
it?
in
Is it Emily or
2021,
Emily?
I started to go in Formula cars. And last year I did F1 Academy, and I won my first race in Barcelona. And this year I'm part of the Red Bull family, and I'm really proud of that.
Max Verstappen has a sister apparently that was very, very quick in motorsport, but decided not to pursue it.
Seeing the amazing young talent, how special does it feel to know that Red Bull are offering these incredible opportunities?
Well, it's a great initiative, and of course Red Bull have got a long history with the young driver program that obviously Helmut's done a great job of running and nurturing. But again,
Yeah, Max's mum also was very, very quick driver.
Academy, coming
I mean, you can see where he's getting it from, can't you? His whole family is
It was
racers.
the ideal time to step in and identify some young talent.
Well, best of luck for this season. Thank you very much, Hamda and Emily. So I'm now back with Christan Horner, Adrian Newey, and Technical Director Pierre Wachet. Welcome. So now we are getting closer to that big reveal of the RB20. But before we do that, let's just take a moment to reflect on the RB19, because, I mean, it was a record-breaking car, such an incredible machine. So, Adrian, it'd be great
That's not true, Atmospheric, at all. What you've just said there, for those of you on Twitch, Atmospheric has said, the body of a woman cannot handle the G-forces of a Formula One car compared to a man. That's absolute nonsense, by the way. Absolute nonsense. It's not true at all.
22, 23, thinking, yeah, Mercedes won a race near the end in Brazil. Ferrari was still winning races. It was still very tight. And on our side, we just concentrated on kind of improving some of the weaknesses of the 22 car. And to our complete
Absolute
shock, by
nonsense.
season, it was becoming pretty evident that we had a mark.
There's women racing in IndyCar, okay? IndyCar doesn't even have any power steering. It's incredibly difficult to drive an IndyCar.
You to constantly push to find
That isn't the issue.
Yes, for sure. But you know, this business of Formula One is
absolute nonsense. It's the ground level where we need to get more women interested in karting and racing, because over the years that hasn't been the case. That's where the problem lies. That's why there's not enough women filtering through the ranks. Well, hopefully there will be in the next
And Christian, what brief
5,
did you
10
give
years.
these guys before they were deciding?
Well, look, that's not up to me, but you know, the 23 car was really an update of the 22 car, and operationally, I think Max was insane the way that he drove last year. So to have achieved all of those records, 22 victories, 19 for Max, to have achieved first and second in the Drivers' Championship, something we'd never done before. 15 straight victories in a row, breaking McLaren's record from 1988. As the guys say, it's down to the people, and you need everybody in every department doing their bit to achieve those kind of results. It was a magical year.
What's the changes for this year's car?
You have to keep pushing. We've made some improvements to the car in all areas, mechanical, vehicle dynamics and aerodynamics.
That's worrying.
Is that enough? Who knows? We shall have to see.
Watch this space. And Pierre, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, we feel the same way. Just we try to identify where we can gain performance on the car. Try to also.
Yeah, the car leaked earlier on this afternoon from this event that they were obviously filming earlier this afternoon. So I have seen the render.
Thank you so much. It's great to hear your insights.
It just came up on my feed.
We've made it to that moment that we've all been waiting
Well, now
for.
we'll see a bit more detail.
It's your first sight of a car that's going to be making fresh
Here we
Red Bull
go.
history.
Welcome.
So get ready for this.
Let's look at the car that will win
the RB20.
the 2024 F1 Championship, everyone. Making a real big deal out of it. Fair play. Proper event. Yeah. Hope no one's got epilepsy. That was all unnecessary, wasn't it? There it is. It's certainly a Red Bull.
And here she is in...
So, there's a couple things I want to talk about before they even speak, right? The first thing is, they've changed the nose away from what they had last year and the side pods. Last year, they were connected to the second flap. Everyone else has now decided to connect to the second flap. Red Bull are now connecting to the first flap. Supposedly, this is only some of the things that's on the car. There's a lot more to come for Bahrain, so I wouldn't read too much into it. A lot of this will change. But when we get a better look, the side pods have a vertical intake. And look at this engine cover. You can't even see it because of my camera. Look at that engine cover. It's hideous. It reminds me of, and I was telling this earlier, the Mercedes engine cover from last year. You see this here? It's very similar, but Mercedes have got rid of that this year. And Red Bull have gone to an extreme. So you better believe it's got a reason.
Looking forward to Bahrain, get testing, get comfortable with the car, understand what it needs, and yeah, just work from there. You know, it's such a long season that we just try to hit the ground running as good as we can. You know, really try to understand the car, and then we'll see where we
Can you imagine
And at Checo, you had
if
a
in
brilliant
Bahrain,
season.
Red
You helped
Bull
Red Bull secure their
don't have
first
any
1-2.
side pods
Tell
and they
us,
make
what
it
are your
work?
ambitions for 2024?
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really happy to see. I've seen that the whole team has put together an incredible concept, and I think now we just want to hit the track, you know, properly. But I believe that we've made some good steps in the right direction, so it should be another great season for the team.
Absolutely. Well, we're all wishing you the very best of luck. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Christian, Checo, Max. Another big round of applause to them.
You can't really see it here, right? But this is a vertical intake.
You were doing something right, Captain.
That is a vertical intake, a little bit like this vertical intake on the Mercedes when they had the zero pods. And so it would be Red Bull, wouldn't it? It would be Red Bull if in Bahrain they came with a zero pod concept. I'm not saying they're going to, but it would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Let's have a look at their Twitter and what have you. Because look at this. Where's the inlet? Like, where is it? Is it there? Could we just say, thankfully, even though it's not going to be the final version that goes on the track, they've at least put a version of their car out this year rather than last year's car. Obviously, this floor is all just complete base render. It's fine. But at least they've put out a version of their car. I wonder if this stuff on here meant to trick people, to be honest. No. Underbite is what... that isn't... Well, not necessarily underbite, but it is kind of an underbite. If I show you... Like, who's got one this year? Well, like McLaren. McLaren have got one. It's not really quite one. Who am I thinking of? I need to find which one. That's an overbite. No, that's an... I don't think Ferrari have an overbite though, do they? That's an underbite. Ferrari got an... Basically, there's two things. There's an underbite and an overbite. Underbite is when, you know, the side pod extends. Overbite is when it extends over, basically. Red Bull had an underbite last year. I've typoed that into oblivion. Good picture here. That'll do. Actually, that's not even their final version. Need a better angle of it. You can see it off that. That was their early version. There. So Red Bull had this underbite version last year. Whereas now, they've gone for an overbite, as they're calling it. But where is the intake? It's hard to see where the intake is. And I noticed in the presentation and in these images, they're actually making it very hard to see. They don't want you to see that detail. So this is 100% a dummy-esque car. But we saw pictures of it going around Silverstone, and it did look like this. So, yes, this won't be the real car. It's a render. You can only read so much into a render. But we saw it going around Silverstone, and this is what the rough, car looked like. Like if we see... Well, that's what I'm thinking it is. That's what I was saying. I think it's their vertical slats. I think they're vertical like these from Mercedes, but much, much thinner. We just can't see it, but I think there is a vertical intake there. I think that's what they've gone with. Unless there's another image that they've shared somewhere. Oh. I mean, I can't see. They've blocked that out. They've done something interesting there because they've blocked it out, look. Unless the intake is there. Because there's no vertical intake unless they photoshopped it, which they might very well have. Because they don't want you to see everything. I mean, this has been photoshopped to oblivion, this has, for sure. They never show off their, up-to-date car ever. So this has definitely been photoshopped. Unless they've gotten... There's no way they've got no intakes there. That would be impossible. Would it? Look at this... look at this sort of whole area here, though. It's very clean and tidy, isn't it? If we look at Mercedes... Yeah, there is quite a lot of space in Mercedes as well. It's... Look at these engine covers. The engine, cannons. I feel like are we missing suspension arms here as well? I feel like we are. Or am I going mad? It's been photoshopped hell and high water. No, there is the right amount of suspension arms, but they look really thin, don't they? Yeah, these it's been photoshopped to hell. Even if we go back and watch the video, though, the car looks pretty. Oh, this is the Sky Sports channel.
No, you get.
You to constantly push to find an
those renders you can't trust anything on those. There's nothing to be gained. I wonder how much of this is real. I wonder how much of it's real, because like I say, Mercedes have gone for this second Most teams have gone for this second inlet, whereas Red Bull had that last year. Like they had that last year. So I don't know why they would go back to that now, unless it's just to throw people off.
But,
But even on this car, you don't see... I mean, look at the suspension here compared to those renders. It just looks so thin there, doesn't it? I don't know.
Evolution of...
Be driving
all the people around it.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, we did see it going around Silverstone. This was the car going around Silverstone. So that is the design of it. That doesn't mean it's the final design, but it is the design. You know, obviously we can see the floor, we can see the cannons. Side pod is the style that we do see in the renders, as well as the front nose. But, you know, all of these are subject to change when they get to testing. So either... I thought the intake was here, like vertical there. I mean, or it's just hidden under this lip, maybe. Maybe there's a thin entrance under the lip. I don't know. But there's quite a few things that look like the Mercedes from last year, including the engine covers. It's like what Mercedes did last year, but more extreme. But obviously you can't really, you know, you can't. The renders, those spy shots are so bad. You can't really make anything out from them. Nothing worthwhile, anyway. That looks completely different. Why are the colours so different on this one that Silverstone's posted? It's like they've saturated it to hell and high water. This is Photoshop, though, 100%. Like, it doesn't look like there's an intake there at all. And obviously, there has to be one, doesn't there? So, yeah, there we go. I mean, listen, I'm just glad they showed off a car. They showed off a car. It was a car. But, you know. We know it will look kind of like this, because we've seen the real car at Silverstone. How much like this it will look. Supposedly, there's people that have said online that they have it with good authority that there will be big changes coming to the car in Bahrain, obviously. But yeah. Maybe Red Bull will get it wrong. Unlikely, though, isn't it? Have we seen Red Bull getting anything wrong yet? I don't think we have. Not in this era. It looks... I mean, they're renders, so they're never going to let you see anything on a render because they can make sure you never do. So I don't know why I'm looking at this. It's pointless because, you know, those renders are not going to show you anything. But like I say, on the actual picture from Silverstone, I can't really make it out either. So, there we go. There we go. Right, YouTube, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you very, very much. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you for joining me. Check out videos that will be coming tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Or two. Tomorrow and Sunday, I think. So, if those tickle your fancy. Otherwise, I'll be live next week for pre-season testing. Thank you very much. Goodbye, YouTube. Right.